Hi and welcome to the Alpha 10 update of MakeTile. I've spent the past couple of weeks focusing on improving the performance of MakeTile, making the UI slightly clearer, as well as implementing a couple of quality of life improvements which should make it more usable and easier to update. If you already have MakeTile installed, make sure that you remove the previous version by going to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, MakeTile, and then clicking on Remove. Because this is an alpha, it's best to restart Blender before installing the new version, just to ensure everything is working correctly. If we have a look at a trusty rectangular floor tile, then this tile has been created using the old tile generator. If I tab into edit mode, you can see that each face is just a single plane, with the exception of the corner loops here. If I go over to this tile, which has been created with the new tile generator, then when I tab into edit mode, you can see that it's been pre-subdivided along the top, which is where all the detail is going to be. But we've still only got a single subdivision on the Z-axis, and then we've got our little edge loops here. If I go over to this third tile, this one's also been created with their new tile generator, but I've subdivided it a load of times. I've subdivided it 50 times on each of the X and the Y axes. So what this means, if I select each tile in turn and click on Make 3D, you'll see what happens. Okay, so if I do this on the first tile, then once I make 3D, it's taken about 2.5 seconds to make it 3D, but pretty much no detail at all has been picked up. This is because the number of modifier subdivisions here, what was previously just called subdivisions, is set to 3. So modifier subdivisions is the number of times every face on the tile is subdivided, rather than the ones just with the detail on, which the new native subdivision option controls. Okay, so if I go along to the second tile, created with the new tile generator, and make that one 3D. So it takes a little bit longer. It takes about 2.9 seconds, so about 2.6 seconds, but it gives us a result that is equivalent to the default settings on the old tile generator. But it's done that, very quickly. If we go over to tile 3, then this one, again, it'll take a little bit longer. It takes about 4.2 seconds on average, but it captures pretty much all of the detail in the tile. In fact, this level of detail is overkill for what's going to be a 2x2 tile printed out probably on an FDM printer. Okay, now using the old algorithm, if I wanted to get the same level of detail on that tile, I'd have had to use about 9 levels of subdivisions here. That would have taken about 75 seconds to make just this one tile 3D. And if you were trying to do this on a system with less than sort of 32 gigabytes of RAM, then it would probably have crashed. And even at 8 levels of subdivisions, which was sort of the sane maximum in the previous version, it wouldn't have captured as much detail as this one, which has still got the 3 sort of subdivisions here, and it would have taken about 12 seconds, so about 3 times as long, but it would have taken up vastly more memory, and there'd have been many more polygons to put around. So if I look at how much memory my entire scene is using, at the moment it's using 255 megabytes. Okay, but if I stick this the subdivisions on this one, the modifier subdivisions up to 8, so I get the all the detail that I need to print it out, and wait quite a few seconds. Doop-de-doop-de-doop. And you can see that the amount of memory has jumped up to 1.2 gigabytes, and the number of triangles has gone from, I don't know, a few 100,000 to 8 million or something. So this tile is a lot heavier and is going to be using up an enormous amount of memory. And if you're doing this for an entire scene, then everything's just going to grind to a halt. Okay, so I'm just going to put that back down to 3. So that's the major thing which I've changed. So basically everything is just going to be a lot faster now. And when you export multiple tiles, each one is only going to take, a few seconds to generate and export, rather than taking sort of 10 or 12 seconds to export. So it'll just all go quite a lot quicker. So all the tile types have these native subdivision options you can tweak, but these vary by tile type. So if I create a corner wall, where are we going? Corner wall, and click on Make Tile, then the native subdivision options for this corner wall are controlling how many subdivisions you have on each leg. So leg 1 and leg 2, and the width, so the width of the tile, and then the z-axis. Okay. With the other one, which is sort of slightly unusual, is the triangular floor. Because of the algorithm I'm using to generate it, you have to have each side subdivided the same number of times. Otherwise it will crash, so you only have that option. And then the semicircular floors, if I go over to those ones and make tile, although you can set the X, the Y, the Z, and also the curve side separately, you'll find that when you use certain settings, you'll get a few artifacts, and that's again because of the way that the face has been filled in and subdivided. There's not a lot I can do about that, really. I might somehow manage to come up with a more elegant way of filling these in, but for now just be aware that occasionally you will get these artifacts and you might need to tweak one of these settings. Okay, so that's all the performance stuff. So the last major thing which I've updated is previously, if you wanted to and you'd tweak the material, you could sort of copy your material and then you could save it, and this saves that material out to an external Blender library file, so it's available every time you start Blender up, and you don't have to start from the same file. So if I create a new file, then when I load up MakeTile, I now have Basic Stone 1, Basic Stone 2, Basic Stone 3, and these are being loaded from that external library file. Previously, these were saved in the add-on folder, and that meant that every time you updated the add-on, unless you sort of copied and pasted that file into the new add-on folder, you could lose your materials, which was not ideal. So now you can choose where to save that, and the default is it will save in your user folder. So if I go to the add-ons menu and go Make Tile, click on this little down arrow if it's not appearing, then you can set the export path, which you could do previously, and you can also set the user asset library, and that will go into your user folder, MakeTile user assets, and then for the materials it's into a materials folder within there. So that's that, and then you can just change that if you want to put it in, I don't know, somewhere different. When you do change this, although it should auto update, it's best just for safety's sake to go and click on Save Preferences, just in case I have screwed up a setting, frankly. Okay, so that's about everything for this update. Hope you've enjoyed this. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm finally going to get around to fleshing out all the rest of the standard open lock tile types. So that's doing the columns and U walls and H walls and stuff like that. So that's my sort of plan, because I now feel comfortable that the tile generation system and all the stuff which is going on in the background there is working fast enough and in a sort of sane enough manner that it makes sense for me to start adding in all those extra tiles. Okay, that's about all, and thanks for watching.